Okay, so Black Clover has just revealed some new implications of the power system used in the land of the sun, as well as a short tour through the country. So if you could absolutely demolish that like button, I'd greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so first off, I just gotta say, Tapata did not hold back drawing Asta's calves.
Damn, son.
I say it definitely doesn't look like he skips a leg day, that's for sure. Man has some absolute cannons down there, alright? But of course, this panel is of him viewing the land of the sun, and the first thing that comes to his mind is how he's supposed to get back, seeing as he's all the way in a foreign country, of course. And Ryuuya tries to calm him down and let him know that he still has a bit more time before Lucius makes his move. Asta, never seen their country before, is curious as to what a shogun is, and he points out that it's pretty similar to the Wizard King. And Asta is shocked to hear this because he of all people knows just how important of a title that the Wizard King is. And now knowing that the shogun is equivalent to a Wizard King, that's definitely something that's going to raise his interest. Ryuuya also adds that he can call him Ryu, and I'm guessing that's a form of hospitality. He's basically letting him call him a nickname. But yeah, Ryu kind of has a cool ring to it. Although in this next panel here, it seems that Asta is confused as to why Ryu doesn't seem that strong to him. But what's odd here is that Ryu doesn't even deny it. He even says that I ain't really that strong. I don't know though, I gotta call cap on that. To become the shogun of the country, you definitely have to be capable yourself. And considering the type of abilities that he has access to, I'm sure that he is. But of course, seeing as he just met Asta, it does make sense that he's withholding that information. And his friend gets a bit irritated here as she says to Asta that he should wash his mouth and not speak so disrespectfully to Ryuuya-sama. And Ryuuya says to her that it's alright, Ichika. So now we know her name is Ichika. Asta's over here reading her key and he says that she seems familiar. But of course, when he's reading her key, he knows that he's angry with her and that he probably shouldn't go near her. Ryu says that he's sure that Asta is shocked due to him waking up in a foreign country, and so he offers to give him a tour around the place. We get a top-down view here and the place looks pretty populated. It seems to be quite a busy day in that town. Asta's pretty excited to be witnessing a new country, seeing a completely different atmosphere, as well as different looking people with unique attire as well. And we see here that these people unravel a scroll as they're saying, "Come one, come all, behold the magnificent dance of the fire and water birds." Seems as though they're using magic to put on the show here. But what's interesting here is they're not using grimoires. And Asta even points that out because he knows that's magic, but he also notices that they're not using grimoires. Ryu points out that here in the land of the sun, everybody uses scrolls to perform sorcery. What you folks call magic and magic power, we call sorcery and sorcery power. Now that's definitely interesting. I don't think I ever would have expected magic, or well, sorcery in this case, to be coming from a different source. But it really does make a lot of sense because if we were to think about the time frame, people use books as well as scrolls to read text. But now this does get me wondering, would Asta be able to gain access to a scroll and be able to use another form of power that isn't anti-magic? Because I noticed that people were speculating that Asta might get another grimoire similar to Yuno, or well, in this case a scroll, but maybe this is how it ends up happening. But now we get a little bit of a throwback here as Asta finds a vendor selling no potatoes. He's like, whoa, what's the specialty of the Hodge village doing here? And he's getting a rush of nostalgia. And the vendor there seems pretty welcoming. He also even says that you got a good head on your shoulders, mister. Yeah, Asta seems to fit in really well in this country. We see here a family that's running some errands, and Asta is immediately reminded of Sister Lily. I think it's interesting how a lot of the people in this country are reminding Asta of his peers. There definitely has to be more to that. I definitely feel like something's gonna be revealed correlating to that familiarity. But in this next panel here, Ryu runs over to that family and he's guiding him to another area. And just as he moves them out the way, something comes crashing through, straight bulldozing through. FBI, open up! And it looks like we got some gangsters here, or should I say scoundrels, as they call themselves. They're shouting that if you don't want to die, bring us all your valuables and food. Everybody's shouting that there's bandits and running away, and Asta is surprised to find out that there's bad guys in every country. And he's shouting out for Ryu because he assumed that he had hurt in that, but it looks like they were completely unscathed. And Asta's wondering if he saved them by accident. He's like, no, he moved them to that spot to save them. And of course, with Ryu's future sight, he was able to see that coming and save them from getting attacked. One of the bandits is even confused as to like how they got out the way, and he realizes that he's a shogun. But what's interesting here is Ryu says that there's nothing to be alarmed over, is there? I'm sure you can feel I've got no sorcery power whatsoever. It's definitely interesting because he even said to Asta that he has no magic power whatsoever, so but I'm wondering if he's hiding it to maybe go off the radar, or if he actually uses some other form of power. But nonetheless, Ryu leaves it to Ichika, and the bandits are underestimating her. He's saying, "You're really giving us this slender girl, you pathetic man." And he's all laughing, but Ichika pulls out something that we've never seen before. She says, "Don't touch me, you cretin." She pulls out this, I guess, fighting style. Looks interesting. There seems to be a flow of energy going to her eyes and then her arm as she takes a stance and lets out an attack. What's interesting here is her attack splits into multiple clones of her and hits all the bandits at once. And the hits not only landed, it sent them flying. That's definitely interesting. Not only did her attack land on all of them, but it one-shotted all of them. Now that's impressive. Also confused with what she just did, he points out that for a moment it felt as though her ki swelled up tenfold, and he saw a darkness around her. As we can see, as she put out that attack, there was a darkness crowding around her. And of course the bystanders recognize her as one of the 7 ryuzen, and they say, "You're the best yami dono." And Asta shocked to find out, whoa, yami? So it appears as though she's from the same clan as Yami. Yeah, because sometimes I forget they like to say their names backwards. So it'll be Sugihiro Yami and Ichika Yami. Before I thought she looked like Sekre, but now I think I see the resemblance between her and Yami. That's interesting. And I'm assuming she's more proficient with using her ki due to the fact that she not only grew up in the land of the sun, but still lives in the land of the sun and got her training there and became one of the 7 ryuzen. Also finding out that she's related to Yami gets a little too excited and tries to approach her. But ironically, similar to Yami, she grabs his face and she's all like, "Don't approach me so casually, outsider."
Get your ass on, boy.
It's funny, she's really holding him up just like Yami does, holding him up like by his face. And Ryu points out that Ichika is indeed Yami's younger sister. He also adds that if you want to get stronger, go get trained by him, the 7 ryuzen. Ichika says that Ryuuya dono might be looking out for you, but I really hate men like you. It's actually pretty odd that she doesn't like Asta, considering that Yami likes him. But there must be more to her character that explains that. But not knowing that Asta will be getting ki training is definitely interesting. It's also good to know that there's more to ki than just sensing ki, you know? Because as we saw with what Ichika just displayed, your ki can flow through your body parts and enhance your attacks. Now I'm not sure how she split herself into those different clones. That must be like a specific ability that she developed. But considering that she could pull off something like that is definitely a lot to be accomplished with ki. I'm definitely interested to see just how Asta develops that ability. Alright, well it looks like Asta's going to be getting ki training. Definitely interested just to see what type of abilities he might develop, but this definitely seems like the path he should be going down. Considering they only have 7 days, since he already has some experience with ki, this is something that he could actually achieve within that short amount of time span. Although I'm not sure yet how that's going to translate into his offense, but we'll have to see. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate you sticking around. Go ahead and leave a like on the video, I greatly appreciate that. Consider subscribing if you enjoy my content, you'll like it here. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.